Well, hello everybody. I've been having so much trouble trying to get sound to work when I make videos and made several during the day, and then when I've gone to edit them, I've had really dodgy sound. So none of that then worked. The election's finally been called. So that's all nice and trippy and really good. For somebody like me who's I get right off on politics. I don't know why. There's something broken inside my brain. The next 5 weeks is like Christmas holidays to me. Um, I enjoy shouting at the TV and getting angry at all the lies I'm getting told and everything like that. I better tell you my opinion about the election first off before I do anything else, because I'm not going to be doing it at the start of every video I make. I personally believe that if Liberal National Party get back in power, that's a serious danger for this country, and I really don't want that to happen. The best thing that I think could happen for this country would be, well, it's not the best thing, but it's the best outcome considering the options we have, is a Labor government with a Greens controlling vote. Everybody says I'm crazy when I say that, but I also personally think that the Labor government is no more or less a danger to this country than the Liberal government. I'd like to remind everybody that the very last Act of Parliament, the very last law that was passed by this sitting of Parliament, was the salmon carve out for environmental laws that was voted on by both the Liberal and Labor Party with absolutely no discussion in the Senate. If you look at voting in Parliament, you'll find that over 95% of all acts passed by Parliament are passed by jointly by Liberal, National and Labor Party, with no discussion in the Senate or on the House floor. And yeah, so Liberal and Labor and National Party may as well just become one party, because 95% of the time they believe in the exact same things. One thing I will say is, and this is scary, right? Like, because we have a Labor Party that's more like the Liberal Party, and the Liberal Party that's selling themselves as the Labor Party, but who the hell's going to believe that? So, the Labor Party decided they wanted to waste $17 billion on a tax cut that amounts to, I think somebody said 73 cents a day. For every single working Australian. For $17 billion, we could end poverty in this country. Just saying, like, we could end poverty in this country tomorrow for $17 billion. So the Labor Party's decided to give everybody 73 cents a day that has a job, and the Liberal Party, in response to that, has decided to cut fuel excise. Instead of giving you the tax cut, which amounts to about the same, $17 billion in lost revenue to the government, which is, quite frankly, considering the debt we have, we really shouldn't be working out ways of taking revenue away from the government. We should be working out ways of giving the government more revenue, but putting safeguards in place to make sure that revenue is used for things that the people of Australia collectively agree with. But that's living in a fantasy world where democracy might actually work, and I don't live in that fantasy world. I live in the real world where we have Labor and Liberal, and they're basically the same party. But yeah, on this thing with the fuel excise, I personally believe, and I could be wrong, I left school really young, the fuel excise thing is a more equitable. I'd prefer it to go to raising the rates of social security, if I'm quite honest, because it would lift everybody out of poverty and close so many gaps it's not funny. But that's not what's going to happen. These are the two choices we have. And on that one particular choice, the fuel excise thing is more equitable. Now, over the course of the election, we're going to have all these news stories, and I want to explain to you why me, living in Ravenshoe in remote Australia, thinks the fuel excise is more equitable than anything else. And we also have me, so from The Guardian, we have this story. The richest households will benefit most from Dutton's fuel tax excise cut, analysis shows. That's the headline. Most people don't read past the headline, and then they run around repeating the headline. But you've got to think of the mindsets of these people. So Peter Dutton is exaggerating how much Australians will save from his plan to cut fuel prices for a year. Economists say an exclusive analysis. I don't know what they mean by an exclusive analysis. I guess only The Guardian has it. I don't know who the economists are, by the way. Shows the richest households will benefit the most from the pre-election cost of living pitch. And that's sort of correct. People with more cars who use cars more and they're more wealthy people are going to get more from the excise. The opposition leader has promised he will resurrect Scott Morrison's policy to halve the fuel rebate from 50 cents fuel excise for 12 months from July and it to an estimated cost of $6 billion. Oh, so only half of the $17 billion. Okay. The coalition says its policy will deliver greater and fast relief to households than Labor's $5 a week top-up tax cuts, which Dutton has vowed to repeal. The national average price for a litre of fuel is about $1.80 according to the Australian Institute. And it goes on, I'm just reading this thing. But basically what they're saying is that more rich people, but if you live in the country, that's not the case. I live in a town, it's got 2,000 people in it, it's called Ravenshoe, it's up on the tablelands. Fuel at the moment is $1.86 a litre, and whether you own a car or not, you can't do anything without a car. Which means if you want to go to the shop and get anything, you have to find somebody with a car, give them a couple of dollars for fuel and go to the shop. Everybody uses cars up here. There's no public transport. So a drop in the fuel excise is a more equitable way of distributing a tax cut to everybody up here on the tablelands than giving everybody a break in tax. I'm a hermit. I don't know too many people. Most people I know are on some form of social security or have small businesses where they're not actually making enough money to spend any tax. I know one small business owner who's living off an income lower than social security, and one of the reasons is that social security makes it too hard for him to apply for income benefits because they don't have a thing in their brain where they account that somebody might be trying to run a business, but that business isn't making any money, so therefore they're not even eating. And we really need to fix that up. Like, somebody should be able to do that. Like, if you own a business and that business isn't making enough money to feed you, you should be able to top up your income to at least what Social Security is for everybody else. Just because you're the sort of person who can't be bothered going through the bullshit of mutual obligations. Like, you can't try and get an enterprise off the ground if you're dealing with mutual obligation. Anyway, I'm ranting off onto a different thing. But yeah, so the fuel excise is a more equitable way to distribute a tax break for everybody, in my personal opinion. A cut in the fuel excise can stop everything from things like bus the price of a bus ticket going up because the bus company's not paying so much fuel. So therefore they mightn't have to put their prices up. Not saying that will happen. Don't trust companies to do that sort of thing. And whenever I say the Liberals have a good idea, I'm not saying that go vote Liberal. Like, please understand, I do not want the Liberal government in power. I'm on a disability support pension. The last time we had a Liberal government in power, they took away my disability support pension and put me in a mental home because I couldn't handle mutual obligations. And that terrifies me. I do not want this government back. But on the other hand, the Labor government's a really bad, incompetent government, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you that they're any better than the Liberal Party. So the only way to deal with the Labor Party is to make sure they have a safeguard. Maybe the Greens are a safeguard, a better safeguard than the Teals. But yeah, the Greens also have a defence policy which blows me out. But yeah, it's election time, so you're going to be getting a lot of videos from me, 1 or 2 a day. Every time these bastards come out with a lie, I'm going to come out and tell you why it's a lie. But the first thing is be careful of newspaper reporting, because the only way that this reporter could write this story on this fuel excise thing and how it benefits the rich more than it benefits the poor, which in one way, if you look at it, they're correct. But they've chosen to take that point of view in this Guardian story, right? In this one, Oliver, however, said old ABS households expenditure data shows the average household uses an average of 35 litres, and the average fuel use may be lower now given the increase in popularity in EVs. Who's buying EVs? Rich fuckers, right? So these people who can afford EVs and all their friends have EVs, I'm talking about the people who write the stories, right, live in a fantasy world that they're not rich. Like, so that's how you get a line. There was a line in this story about EVs. So I've just got to find it. It's really good. Let's find it. The richest households who tend to use more fuel than poorer families would receive the greatest dollar benefit, an estimate. The benefit to households of the lowest figure would be a third of that. Yeah, well, that's because people who are poor don't own cars. But if you live in the country, everybody's poor and we all own cars, and a drop in the price of fuel would really help me as somebody who lives in the country. And this is what happens when all media is pushed to the city, and everybody in the city who writes in the city, who writes in media, a middle class privileged wanks, because they don't understand that most people are on either a disability support pension or an age pension where I live, and they all have cars. Like, I have another friend who's on the council in one of the poorest councils in all of Australia, from what I hear, I haven't looked at the figures, and you'd have no idea if you went to where she's on the council. Like, you'd have no idea going around these suburbs because it's all behind closed doors. So nobody can see the poverty that's going on. But the real actual figures is 5.5 million people in this country live on or below the poverty line. And it's time we dealt with that. That's it for me for now. I've got to go and do stuff. Everybody stay safe. If you watch this video, like and subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye.